right? He's not just a tool for. He's a human being. He's not just a player we picked on PlayStation on NBA Live and put him on our team and we just gonna just run him out there and not care about the human. I care about the human Kyrie. I
Yep.
really, really do. Not because of anything he's ever done for me. It's just because I look at him and I see a human being who sincerely wants to help create change. However, because of his how can I say this without being insulting? He just believes in nonsense. And, everyone is going to go, oh, you're bringing up flat earth. You're bringing up flat earth. What type of person believes in flat earth? What type of person wakes up on the planet earth and sees the sun rise on the sun, on the horizon, knowing ships go through the Panama Canal and end up in China, believes that the earth is flat? And I don't say that to besmirch the kid. I don't say that to make him look stupid or ridicule him. It's just once you know you're that kind of gullible, shouldn't you maybe have several layers of filters to help you think things through? And why would anyone hate the person who needs several layers of filters to think things through? You can't hate that dude. For what? My problem with Kyrie is he's let these things go to the point where it's about his identity. It's about this persona that he's created outside of basketball that is supposed to mean more. Like, I'm worrying about bigger things than basketball. No. You promised Kevin Durant that you were going to protect him, that you were going to be here to make sure that he didn't play too many minutes and blow out his Achilles like he did in Golden State. And where are you now? And you're talking about you're not anti-vax. You just want a plant-based one. It's a chemical-based one is not good enough. I'm sorry,
No,
Sam.
no.
It's infuriating. Not because he's not playing basketball right now. It's infuriating because it makes us all have to think ridiculous things and say things that don't make sense to justify it. And I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm right there with you. Look, I think the other upsetting thing about the entire Kyrie thing this year is, look, like we're people that look forward to the Nets season starting, right? Like you like going to the games, like listening to Ian and Sarah and RJ and whoever on Yes, like, and there was something about on the precipice of this season with the big three supposed to all be like healthy, the team seemed more talented, and the Kyrie thing like took the wind out of the sails to the point that like, look, I want him back more than anything, to the point that I'm checking his Twitter likes, I'm checking his Instagram followers, like, or who he's following, because I just like want him back so badly because I want to see the Nets win a title. But like, winning a title shouldn't be like this unfun. It like this ride should be fun, and it should be enjoyable, and every game, win or loss, should be great because you're watching three of the best like 13 players playing every single night, barring a rest. And what's annoying about this season is that it's become all about off the court stuff. It's like it's about him, it's about Harden's conditioning, like there's just one thing after another in this team that I think a lot of us really thought in October or September, whenever, like, could win 60 something games and break the Nets record in wins and really like
I didn't need that. I, di-
I don't
I
I'm just saying like
what I needed, Sam.
oh
What I needed, Sam, was a team that even if you were load managing it to death, even if you were, you know, strategically resting or strategically injuring players, like in the sense of letting their injuries draw out a little longer to protect them and have them ready for the playoffs.
Right.
All of those things would have been fine for me. But I don't see a team that's working together towards a goal. I see guys trying to get in shape in the regular season. I see guys in roles that overlap but don't complement each other. I see a team that is regressing offensively to worse habits, not because the game plan or because they don't know how to play the way that they used to. It's just that they don't have enough components to effectively play in the style that they play in. Right? This is supposed to be a team that throws lobs, that stretches the floor from the inside as well as from the 3-point line. And they can't do that. They don't have the players to play in that fashion.
No.
And so they're struggling. And this was unexpected.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly said. And
are they still the first seed? Did they lose the first seed?
No, because I think the Bucks and the Bulls both lost yesterday.
This has to be the worst first seed team I've ever seen.
and by the way, because me and you get killed, whether it's in Spaces or on Twitter or whatever, for our respect for the Bucks, especially coming off a title and getting the monkey off their back, which is a big thing that does matter for a lot of
people. Do not understand how much it means to a team to see them beat you, to see them send you home.
Yep.
Right.
And have you been seeing the stats about the Middleton, Giannis, Drew Holiday team this year? They've all had injuries. Budenholzer is doing a ton of load management, which I think is smart because of you never want a Giannis injury or whatever. They are 11-0 when the three of them play, and their offensive rating, they are blowing people out of the water when the three of them are on the floor together. Like they are not fucking around. I mean, that streak might have been broken yesterday because I think they may have all played against the Heat, but like they are, as you just said, whether they won, I mean, they won that series because Harden and Kyrie got hurt, whatever the reason is, they don't care because they have the hardware and they have the rings, and they also got better. Like they're getting DiVincenzo back. He didn't play in the series last year. Grayson Allen's been great for them this year. I know Brook Lopez is hurt, but like Giannis is basically a center anyway. Giannis is basically like Shaq reincarnated only for this era. Like they are a force to be reckoned with. And I think any Nets fan that's just like, oh, well, we basically had them last year and then our guys got hurt. A, I don't see Kyrie. B, Harden isn't looking the same way. And C, this Bucks team is completely different.
And our team is different.
And our team is different.
We do not have it sounds fucking insane, but we did not replace Jeff Green. We didn't. And I can't believe he was so important to us, but he was. Think about every time that guy would hit like a out of the blue corner three and get momentum right. Like yesterday, everyone's talking about the scoring. We let them score 114 points. The Houston Rockets scored 114 points.
By the way, without Kevin Porter Jr. or Jalen Green.
Exactly. And it's not like they were lighting it up from three like that. It was just that when they couldn't make a basket from outside, they attacked us inside and they would stop runs. If you can't protect the rim when a team needs to get going, they'll go to the basket and get an easy basket to stop your runs. And that's what kept on happening. The Nets are not better than they were last year. They're not. Mistakes were made. I don't think we knew how bad Millsap was. I think we looked at him in Denver, even though he sucked in Denver too. I think we looked at him in Denver and said, ah, he'd be better with us. And I don't know, he hasn't been. What do you think of that guy?
Um, I think the jury's still out on him because when he comes on the floor, I do think the ball moves better because he's not a big dribbler, and the Nets have too many guys who put the ball on the floor too much. And I like to see the ball moving, which is what a lot of these other teams are doing well. And I agree. I think his body is pretty shot, but I think he's smart, and so from that perspective,
Yeah.
I actually enjoy him on the floor, and I think there are times in the right matchup he's really good. But look, it goes back to what me and you were saying at the top. Like it just feels like there's too many guys that just have the similar body types that are supposed to be doing the same thing. It's like Blake, Millsap, Aldridge. They're both slow, big guys who can't dunk anymore.
It's just so much sludge.
It's who take mid-range shots, who are good passers, but they can't use their body and they can't dunk anymore. And so, like, it's kind of like, what's the point of all these guys? Like I think, look, Millsap and Blake and who do you call it? Who's the other? And LaMarcus, those three guys. I don't think it's a coincidence that we beat the Sixers this year because I think those guys do help against an Embiid type. The question is, do they do anything against the Hawks, the Bulls, the Bucks, like all these other like younger, more athletic teams? Like that's where I think they really get exposed, and that's why, look, me and you have been on record this whole time being like, we're way more concerned about these teams that are flying all over the place like the Hornets or the Hawks than some of these older teams, because we know how to play like the old school guy at the playground ball. We do that like in our sleep. What we don't do well with is the kid who comes to the playground who doesn't have great hand-eye coordination but can dunk from the free throw line.
Yeah, like where they don't even have to think against us. They just have to just be athletes and
the guy like
score.
who's guarding Miles Bridges for the Nets?
Nobody.
Yeah.
We have no answer for Miles Bridges. Miles Bridges eats our food every time.
Like, who's guarding John Collins? Who's guarding, like, even, like, Capella? Like, that's the stuff where the Nets get exposed.
Sam, before we shut it down, who would have ever thought that Kevin Durant would not only be our best offensive player and best player, he is by far our best defensive player. Who would have thought that?
I mean, the fact that, look, this is where it goes back to your guy Clax just not. I still want to believe in him. I thought of an interesting trade that'll never happen. But what if there was a Mitch Robinson for Claxton trade?
Lee, man, it's like I threw up a little bit in my mouth, but now that I've taken a breath. Oh, man.
I think Rob works better with Harden at this point, maybe than Claxton does.
Yeah, because he could actually catch a lob.
Yeah, that's what they need right now. They need that badly.
They would never do it, but
but
that just goes to show how bad it is that I actually sat here and thought about it for a long time. Like, could I stomach it? Ugh. We're not a good basketball team when we don't have our guys. Like, of course, everyone is right that says, oh, what are you talking about? We didn't have Harris, and we didn't have this, and we didn't have that. Yeah, you're right. But it's so not about the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets should never be able to beat a championship team at all. That team is bad. That team is not even trying to win.
You're also right, by the way, in the sense that, and I think we've kind of been like circling around this issue, but like there's also a difference. Like the way you win and the way you lose. Like I know, like everyone likes to say, like no, it's just a results game. You get a W, you get an L. But like the way you win and lose does matter. Like winning games where you're just playing kind of an ISO style, and only like one person is touching the ball. Like that stuff isn't as sustainable because when the game slows down, like people are just going to double like a guy like KD, and like you need the ball to be moving.
Right.
And you know, like, and that's why I think if the Nets had lost to the Rockets, but we felt like the ball was moving